the dashboard main page very often, but apparently 2 weeks ago, I saw it this morning. I went to the main dashboard page, and apparently 2 weeks ago, 13 days ago, I hit. We're talking with Spanish people hit 5 million total views. Now, if you would have said to me 12 years ago when I started this or whatever it was, that I would get to 5 million views, I would have probably thought, like, wow, I'm going to be rich. I got 130,000 views or something last month, and I made $68. So, 5 million views isn't that impressive, actually. Although, I will admit, I can I can't calm the mind at the moment. I've had plenty of occasions where I've seen videos that do less well than my videos. Like Johnny's shorts have fewer views than my shorts. It's ridiculous. But there's just no accounting for taste sometimes. Like some people like Shawn Mendes. Those people are called, either tards, morons, or whatever you want to call them. Some people like Jason Derulo. Some people like getting kicked in the teeth. That doesn't mean we should prescribe teeth kicking for everybody. Probably we shouldn't. So anyway, I'm up. Obviously, it's not even 3 in the morning. But, you know, I did get a solid 4 hours of sleep. You might say, Eric, 4 hours isn't enough sleep. And you're not wrong, okay? You're not wrong. But you are wrong. No, you're not wrong. But stop pointing out irrelevancies. So, now that I've discussed that important matter, yeah, 5 million views. I wish that meant 5 million different people had seen my videos, but it doesn't mean that. Probably fewer than 5 million people have seen my videos. In fact, I can guarantee it. Because I know both Rachel and I have watched at least 2 different videos on this channel. So, well, meow, I already watched you eat. I don't want to watch you eat some more. So just chill out. So it actually rained quite hard for some stretches of last night. Hard enough that I could hear it outside coming down pretty hard. And as I've mentioned in the past, I have a very soundproof house. So that's unusual that I'd be able to hear something like that. Sounds like Rachel's coming downstairs. She wants in on the hot 5 million view action.
I do.
13 days ago, talking to famous people hit 5 million views.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thanks. Congratulations to you too.
Thanks.
Of course, you know, Last month they had 130 some thousand views,
Meow meow.
and we made $68.
Meow.
That's not. It's like one tank of gas. For 130,000 views, I make one tank of gas. That's fine. If I were in this for the money, I'd obviously be doing something differently. So I'm guessing you've gotten zero sleep tonight, Rachel?
Yes.
Have I guessed correctly that you've gotten zero sleep tonight?
Yeah.
I got a solid 4 hours, crazily
That's
enough.
good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I will. I am tired.
Well, see if you can get yourself 4 hours or something. I'll save you 2 Adderalls for when you get up.
Thank you.
Sure. Plus, I won't finish smoking this one that you have packed in there that you never finished yesterday.
Oh, really?
I don't think you finished it.
No.
Yeah, so I'll say you had two of them, plus you have that what's left in that bowl.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Sure. So a lot of people don't know, really, that yes, you can smoke Adderall. If you haven't tried it, what are you waiting for? I watched this really funny lady last night. I don't know if Rachel heard me laughing at it.
Yeah, I did.
I think this lady is an ENTP. When I first started watching it, I I thought, oh, I don't think I really like this very much. But the reason I think she's an ENTP is because I can like reverse engineer the way she works. First of all, she does this hilarious imitation of, it's not explicitly an imitation of Judy Garland, but it's explicitly an imitation of like 1950s or 60s uh, style female characters in movies. Like, well, golly, I just can't. I know my tits are going to be confused, but she does a great imitation of that. And then she did this whole bit on Jenna Jameson coming to watch her comedy show. But I think it was originally conceived of as, what would it be like if Marilyn Monroe came to see my comedy show and wanted to see it because she wanted to fuck me?
I love you.
I love you too. And she did such a great, I guess it's a Jenna Jameson impression, but it's really like a Marilyn Monroe pretending to be dumb impression. Anyway, her name was Rachel something, actually. Rachel, like, I don't remember. I have to look it up. Rachel won her fantasy football, but I lost mine. Rachel Feinstein. Only Whores Wear Purple. It was excellent. I watched like a whole 45 minutes of it. It was good. She also does a great segment on the difference between a douche and a tool. she's like, this guy's like dating this tool, and you know, she sounds just like me. When and she's talking about this guy, and he's got good TE, he's great at making money, but he's a complete tard. I don't know. So when I encounter funny comedians to watch, I really like that because I'm a huge fan of laughing. Laughter, laughing, hilarity, jokes, funniness, and assorted other things like that. Not the quantity, but the quality. Quality of the views, quality of the viewers. Well, I do have the highest quality viewers on YouTube, that's for sure. I did a poll. Who has the highest quality viewers on YouTube? Talking with famous people? Other. Talking with famous people won. Of course, given that only viewers of Talking with Famous People took the poll, that's a little bit unsurprising. Oh, thanks, Carlos. Thank you. Hey, it's like, grazie? What are you saying thank you for? No, that's grats with an exclamation point. I get it. This is actually 2 weeks old news, but I finally looked at the main dashboard page on the, which I normally don't go to because it's like the landing page. All the information you want is in one of the tabs. Other than that, But I went there and I saw 2 weeks ago I had 5 million views apparently. you know, when you're getting views with at least some of the views with shorts, it hardly feels like it counts as views. I'm just so goddamn like lazy slash like what's the point that even though I could do 5 fucking minutes of work a day and get 10,000 views a day with shorts, you know, maybe 10 minutes of work. I don't know. But, um, but it's harder than it sounds because if you don't feel inspired at all, then it probably won't get any good views anyway. Although I will say, it is really hard to beat Meth P for a female comedian just killing it. Rachel, I started playing part of that for Rachel in the car, and then it's like it came time to pull over and deal with this stop we had. I think probably to get these weed things, if I remember correctly, but I'm not sure what we had to deal with. So we had to pause it and never turn it back on. But Meth P is hilarious. That's a girl I can really identify with. Look, my teeth just started falling out right away. Like they were made out of sand and hairspray. So, If you haven't seen that one, and you just have to search YouTube for Meth P, I'm pretty sure it's maybe Meth P comedy or comic, but I'm pretty sure it's the only Meth P really worth watching on YouTube. So hopefully it's the only one you can find. Yeah, I hear you. I've already watched you eat. I'm finding it hard to believe that you genuinely need me to watch you eat again, since I just watched you eat like half an hour ago. But I guess this is why I'm managed to make it to 5 million views. Compelling content like this. You think just any old cat eating would garner the kind of views that I managed to garner? No, I don't think so. Yes, you're an important man. We're back to normal now that we're back home. We were gone for 24 hours. It's like seriously trouble. It can't be that traumatizing to have us gone for 24 hours. When you have absolutely everything a cat could possibly need, including the companionship of another cat. Plus inside outside privileges anytime, whenever you want. Of course, I had to throw away another dead mouse this morning. It was a baby, really a real baby this morning. Cats are like, oh, cool, infant. Let's torture and kill it. Oh, cats. Why do you behave like this? Why won't you just leave the woodland friends alone? They don't bother you. You don't need to bother them. But, cats don't really, they aren't known to be great at reciprocity standards like that. In fact, some people say they're bad at reciprocity. But those people are just cat haters, in my opinion. So, what do you want to talk about this morning? 5 million views? Okay. That's one more than 4,999,999. It's the greatest achievement of my life. It doesn't mean anything at all. It's just a sign of longevity, I guess. Like, who really wants to be Cal Ripken? This mediocre shortstop who only has fame for not getting injured. It's like, that's not an accomplishment. I mean, it's an accomplishment that is rare enough in professional sports, but I mean, it's not like you'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm killing it. I'm totally not getting injured. He was just like hit. It's like basically a 250 hitter, an adequate defensive shortstop, but he played a shit ton of games without missing a single game. That's his claim to fame. Right. It's called the woodland bacon acacia. The cats are just trying to bring home the woodland bacon. That lady last night, she had a funny joke about starting to date some guy and he wanted her to do like a sexy dance for him. She's just like, okay, maybe I'll put on some lingerie or something. But what is this shit? She imitated herself doing the Charleston. Like trying to be erotic doing the Charleston. It was funny. She builds a lot of her show actually around voices that she does that she's got down so well. Like in the bit about Jenna Jameson, she's imitating Jenna Jameson, who basically sounds like Marilyn Monroe when she's trying to sound dumb, you know. And then like a Scottish sailing vessel captain being herself in the exchange. And her voices that she does are great. They're funny and they're like arch, you know, they're perfect. She does her Jewish mom, who's like, you know, an ESTJ old lady character who thinks she's super liberal, but is actually like incredibly like old style white privilege kind of racisty. That voice is great. Her imitation of her mom is hilarious. I highly recommend that show. It starts a little slow. I was not sure if I was gonna stick with it actually at the beginning, but I ended up watching the whole 45 minutes of it or something. It could possibly be edited a little bit more. You can see Comedy Central did some editing too. To clean up around the edges a bit. Hi, Boba Fett, if I didn't say hi already. I hope your day is going well. She had rather a circuitous joke about having this nanny who would tell her when she was little, like, only whores do this, only whores do that, you know? Anyway, it's a very circuitous joke, and it's like it's got lots of jokes along the way, but the framed out joke, which is like a callback. Well, I think the callback is so late that it's like funnier in conception than it is in actuality. But the whole spiel is good throughout, so it doesn't really matter. And you can't, for switching to a different comedian abruptly, you can't go wrong with this kind of joke. But I was just snorting the meth, so. And the people who really had a problem were the ones who were smoking it. Anyway, after I started smoking it, that joke is, it's kind of like a standard joke structure, but I like it. I think it's great in that particular instance. It's kind of like a joke you'd see in a movie or a TV show or something. It's like, well, at least it couldn't get any worse. And they cut to the next frame. It's raining now. There's a laugh track. It's basically like that kind of trouble. What in the fuck are you doing? Before he even stepped into the litter box. Okay, he has not stepped into the litter box yet. What he is doing? He is scooping all the. He didn't even go to the bathroom. He just went in there and scooped a bunch of cat litter onto the floor. I watched you do it this time. Yeah, and now I gotta open the door for him because he's too fat to comfortably go through the cat door. He's not actually fat, he's just a big kid. Go on in. This fucking cat. You believe this? He put all this fucking cat litter on the floor. I shit you. Oh, he did go pee. He did. I was like, I thought he didn't even go to the bathroom. But he didn't bury his pee at all. He just kicked all this sand out onto the ground. What a dick. Look how much sand he kicked out. It's ridiculous. Kitty, I tell you. He is the most well-named cat in history. He is non-stop, 24/7 trouble. Why is that bringing that trash cans up from the sky? I forgot about that. You guys, just say trouble. Capito, I'm sure, is guilty of nothing except killing lots of mice and lizards. She's guilty of nothing but murder. In contrast, Trouble is guilty of everything. So that was fun. I got to clean up some cat litter, scoop some pee. It was pretty exciting for me. That's an adventure of wonder and learning we all can enjoy. I think it's fair to say. All right, well, it looks like I've returned to the inside portion of the house. Money. I don't know. It's a great joke about anti-Semitic stuff. Without actually being an anti-Semitic joke itself. It's called walking the line correctly. It's why imitating a fake dead person isn't offensive. Woodland creature bacon. You can just call that straight up woodland bacon, Acacia. So yeah, we got quite a bit of rain, I would suggest, last night. There was a goodly little stretch of time where it was really pouring. I mean, it was like you could hear it just coming down in buckets outside. I am curious to see if the rain, which wasn't that much considering it's just yesterday and a little bit the day before, I mean, this morning slash yesterday slash the night before a little bit. This early morning, I don't even think it probably didn't even rain after midnight. But regardless, the point is, I don't think that's going to be enough rain to get our little river going in the bottom of the gully. But it might be enough to get a little bit of a trickle of stream coming through. And I was looking at the longer term forecast. We've got another storm coming in next week, according to the Microsoft weather thing, which is not very reliable at all. But I also looked at the cloud satellite images, and there's actually a storm north of, but about as far out as Hawaii. And it's called Greco Roman bowling, Acacia. You're making it sound gay. Mm-mm. I'm glad I started watching stand up comedians. Taylor, hi. How are you this morning? Is that a picture of your dog? I used to have a dog. But now I only have two cats. And no dogs. I don't even have any fish anymore. Or a crayfish. Originally I had a crayfish for a couple years at least. Probably like 3 years. But it eventually died because I let the water get a little bit gross and then I climbed out of the tank and it died. That was sad. But, it had a pretty good life for a aquarium crawfish. You have 3 dogs. You also have an Italian accent. Okay, so Taylor, that makes it easy for you to have what's called a 3 dog night. That's when you let each of your dogs take turns having sex with you. Raiden Shogun, is it you? Are you the one? Well, thanks. I just want to point out for everybody what I said earlier. First of all, last month I got 136,000 views. So, right there, that's 1/50th of the total amount of views that I have just last month. And 1 month is not anywhere close to 1/50th of my total amount of months on YouTube. Because 50 months is just 4 years, and I've been on YouTube 3 times as long as that. However, it is also worth noting that with those 136,000 views that I got last month, I made $68. So, uh, you know, they see me rolling, they hating, patrolling and trying to catch me riding dirty. Because they assume I must be rich from all these 5 million views. But I'm not. Still, it's a bit of an accomplishment, I suppose. What would be much more of an accomplishment, in my opinion, would be hitting 10,000 subscribers. I did a poll years ago. When will TWFP hit 10,000 subs? Within a year, within 2 years, within 5 years, never. Something like that. Well, I no longer believe it's going to be never because the subs have been going up at a rate of like last month it was plus like 270 subs or something, which is quite a few compared to my. There was a stretch time when I was stuck at like 8,100 or 8,200 for like I don't know years. It seemed like. So that's one of the nice things about the two things that are different than what I used to be, which is number one, almost all my uploads are shorts, not longs. And number two, I started live streaming vertically. Those two things have corresponded in time with an increase in the sub rate that's dramatic. Which is, a good thing. Hitting 10,000 subs would be a milestone that I'd actually probably be like, hey, I I was wrong. I voted never on that poll. My dog died now. That's times I love my dog. When your dog dies, you love it. Okay. I'm not sure what you're getting at there, but that's fine. I had a dog die, and she was very precious to me. My daughter, when I went and visited her, I saw she still has on her in prominent place picture of that dog and a frame that says "best dog ever." And she really was the best dog ever. It's been many years since she died now, but it's been like at least 5 or 6 years, or 7 years or something. But Lacey was my dog oil. You died. That's how I got 3. Okay, well, I think what you're saying is that you had 4 dogs and one of them died. That's my best interpretation of that. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I know how painful a dog death can be. It's a good reason for me just not ever want to get another dog, even. I mean, it really feels it to me as though What's your favorite species of dog? Good question, right? Joker. Well, that sounds like you got a good title for a show. My three dogs are stupid. Um, how much do dogs cost? That's a strange question. It really depends. You can get them for free if you want to. I got my dog for free. Lacey, anyway. She was just a stray dog that somebody took to. I guess she was my girlfriend at the time, who was the director of this preschool that was pretty close to where I lived. And one of her clients brought in this stray dog that she had found running on Rosemead, was afraid it was going to get run over by a car. And Candace was like, "Look, this lady brought this dog to me. Can you just come watch it until I get off work?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." By the time she got off work, he said, "Sorry, this is my dog now." Nobody may ever have this dog. Yeah, we had a crawfish. His name was Lilu. And he was a crawfish. He was an easy pet. He was a good pet, because crawfish, all they really want is for you to give them a good space to make a a little that's a very fourth slot FE thing to say. I had a guinea pig. Yeah, I had a guinea pig. Did you know this? I am a farmer. I did not know that, Taylor. I like the way you talk, though. You sound like a foreigner. Um, oh, my dog just died. Oh, well, how much do dogs cost? That's either FI polar or FI eighth for sure. I remember posting my dog died on Instagram and I regret I did something dumb. Why is that a dumb thing to do? I'm not sure I quite get it. You have 5 guinea pigs? I used to have a shit ton of guinea pigs. Because I had a male and a female guinea pig and they just kept breeding and breeding. And then the mother would breed with her children and the children would breed with each other. A lot of incest going on in the guinea pig community. And eventually it resulted in one of the guinea pigs having a retarded baby. It didn't make it. I don't know. Dogs, like cats, have very distinct personalities from one another. They're, in my opinion, they're subject to the same function stack configuration rules as human beings are. Just look at our two cats, they're so different from each other. Trouble is a huge talker, meows all the time. Capillo rarely meows at all. Yes, they had different upbringings, but they just have different personalities. So, anyway, Taylor, be sure to prevent your guinea pigs from engaging in too much incest. Where do I live? I live in California, right near Yosemite National Forest slash Park, which you may have heard of. It's a famous rock climbing place. Um, there's this rock called Half Dome that a lot of people climb up. So I live very close to there, to Yosemite as the crow flies. To drive into the entrance of it, though, I have to go out to the highway and go over there. It's a ways away. It's like 45 minutes away, maybe even an hour by car to the entrance. But but as the crow flies, well, a lot of devices will indicate when you're at my house that you're in Yosemite National Forest, but we're not, obviously. That's not private land. We are closest to accessing the Sierra National Forest. There's this great road that goes up into the Sierra National Forest from just down the road from us. And we have a little wilderness car that we can take up there into the forest. We only just took that road for the first time the other day. We tried the other roads before, but never that one. And that road's the best road by far. It's like, that's where I want to go, because that way you're going straight into just nothing but national forest. When you're driving these other roads like Heights Cove and the Mine Road and stuff, there's kind of a mishmash of public and private lands, and it's you're not. It doesn't have that wide open feel of like I'm leaving civilization and heading off into the forest that the road in the Sierra Forest is, because the road in the Sierra Forest is straight up elevation, so you just get higher and higher and higher. I mean, it's not straight up, obviously, but it's we 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 went up probably 1,500 to 2,000 feet from the bottom of the road, just going out there for like an hour or something. Their names are Goat 1, Goat 2, Goat 3, and Goat 4. Farmers don't name their goats, Acacia. They don't name them, they eat them. Farmers love a delicious goat stew. Unless they're milking the goats for cheese. Oh, you name your goats? What are their names? Stephen, Steve, Stefan, and Steph. You could drink the milk too, but I don't think goat's milk is very good to drink. I think you probably want to just make cheese out of it. Cheese can be quite good, but I've never had a glass of goat milk before. It sounds a little barnyardy. Of course, I've never had a glass of human milk before either. if I ever drank human milk from my mother, she didn't put it into a glass first. And same with Delilah's biological mother. I did taste human breast milk before, but it's kind of barnyardy. It's a little barnyardy. It tastes like hay. Goats don't eat dogs, no, Acacia. Goats are just not really carnivores like that. They're not predators, you know. They don't knock over dogs with their pushing horns and then eat them. Where did you go to school, Acacia? Can you believe this? Acacia thinks that goats eat dogs. Only Korean goats eat dogs, Acacia. You should know that. But I was lying in bed last night, laughing about that dumbass who said he was from Brazil on the stream last night. He may have been from Brazil, actually. I don't know. Yet another dumbass coming in and telling me to quit smoking. Well, I'll tell you what it made me think. It made me reflect more on what I said last night, which is I want to know is there just this commonality among dumbasses that they're just also such dumbasses that they say the same thing? Or is it just one dumbass coming over and over again? I want to know. Inquiring minds do. That's the moon you're looking at right there, that light. If you thought maybe it was a spaceship, you were wrong. It kind of looks like the spinning wheel thing when you're waiting for something, but it's not. It's the moon. There's one of the dippers, but you probably can't see it because you're blind. There's the Big Dipper over there. That's Rachel's room up there that I'm showing you the lights from behind the curtain. I call it Rachel's room. She still as likely as not to call it the day room. No, it's definitely not a day room because we moved a bed in there and took out the day beds, and it's her primary room, you know. So the master bedroom is my primary room, but it's kind of our room. Rachel has half the closet in there. She's also got the full closet in the blue room. Plus, there's no closet in the day room, but she's got a thing to hang clothes on, like a metal rolly thing that you hang clothes on. She was like, I'm not sure where to get you new jeans from, but I'm thinking Levi's because they have long cut. Normally, you answer those kind of questions with like, yeah, well, I don't know. You figure it out, whatever you want. That struck me. Wait a second. Why do I need new jeans? I said, I don't think I need any new jeans. I think I have plenty of pairs of pants. I have at least 2 pairs of pants. How many more pairs of pants do you need, you know? I have more than 2, but like you need a pair of sweatpants, you need a pair of jeans, and you need a pair of shorts. That's really all you need as far as pants goes. You might need like a fancy pair of pants for if you go do fancy things. But by and large, I don't achieve above medium fancy in terms of fanciness. Even at my fanciness, I'm only medium fancy. Which obviously is an inadequate amount of fancy for, say, a black tie event. That's why every year when I go to the Oscars, I wear the same dress. I mean, now that would be a bold move for an actress. Normally, the actresses are always like, what am I going to wear this year? But it's like, how cool would it have been to say, like, Scarlett Johansson, when she started first going to like award shows, she just picked this one like beige dress and she wore it to every single award show from that point till now. How cool would that be? She'd be like a legend. A legend in beige. That would be bucking the trend. That would be being different by being the same all the time. Same dress, same handbag, same shoes, same like frumpy hat every time. She's got like an Annie Hall hat, you know. It's also beige. As are the handbag and the shoes. And she goes to all the award shows makeup free. And her reasoning every year changes, but it's always obviously a lie. One year she's like, yeah, my wrists were hurting. So, what is this brown stuff on my hand? Oh, I guess it's weed? Don't worry, I know you probably were thinking, Eric, that's gotta be poop. No, I could tell right away it wasn't poop. It's not really brown, it's yellowish, like a nicotine stain. I don't know how I got it right there on my hand of all places. Right here. You live in Madrid. Okay. Well, bye for now. Have a nice time in Madrid. And go ahead and use Vosotros as much as you want. Feel free. I was in the toilet, but now I'm not. What is Rachel's type? Rachel, which is not spelled with a second A, by the way, but is an INFJ. And she's about as INFJ as they get. Which, you know, people think, oh, it's so wonderful to be an INFJ. It's very difficult to be an INFJ. I feel like I know the type extremely well. I feel like I know the type better than any type other than my own. Obviously, it's easy for me to grok INTPs because they're the other NTPs, but as far as understanding the challenges of being a certain type, I feel like I understand the challenges of being INFJ more than I understand the challenges of being any other type besides besides ENTP. Well, if you're an FI Dom, then the one that comes after it is SE. If you're an NI Dom, then the one that would come after it would be TE. So what you're saying is you're either an ISFP or an INTJ. You're not sure which. Well, that's a not unreasonable thing to be confused about. They have the same absolute values, which is to say NI and FI, front stack, same four functions. You know, it's very reasonable to be confused or not sure whether you're ISFP or INTJ. That could be a tough one to distinguish potentially. I would distinguish it myself using extrovert intuition tests. If you're extrovert intuition polar, I could spot that easy enough, you know. And then I'd say, okay, well, you're definitely ISFP. If you're definitely not extrovert intuition polar, I could tell that too. I'd say, well, you're INTJ. If it were nerved by the other stuff, you know. But that's like a smart thing to say. I'm not sure if I'm ISFP or INTJ. That's a smart thing to say. When people say things like, I'm not sure if I'm ESTP or ISTJ. Okay, well, those aren't remotely similar, so I don't know why you would be confused between those two. But I do get. Hey, FFF18 is back. And you aced your chem exam today, and I see that once again you have, much to my delight, arrived bearing plenty of emojis. You've got 2 laughing while crying faces and 3 hearts between hey and I. Then you have a guy with his hand up at the end of the sentence as well. So, I mean, that's bringing a lot of emoji action to the party, and I appreciate that because it's kind of like, well, it's a much less annoying version of what Britney Spears did in this one social media post I read where she ended. I I want to say literally every sentence, but she may have missed one or two. I don't know, but for like every sentence in a fairly long post, she ended every single one of them with 3 exclamation points. Britney Spears, why do you need so badly to exclaim things? Can't you just say them regularly? He help? What do you want help with? Would you like me to help you with your goats? All right. Take your first goat, sit it on your lap. Massage it right here behind the ears. That's how you make a happy goat. I knew a goat before. I had a goat friend. Um, his name was Tofu, and he was my friend Corey and Liz's goat. He was a pygmy goat, so he was smaller than a regular sized goat. But they got him when our kids were like, or Charlie anyway, and Delilah were 2 years old or something, or 3 years old. And the fucking goat used to knock the children over all the time. Delilah was scared of it for a while. I tried like, stop knocking over my daughter. But Tofu just thought, well, these little children are so easy to knock over. You are 7 years old. Oh, wow. Then probably don't try to put a goat on your lap. Okay, bye FFF18. You don't need to apologize. You can come and go as you please without even making any announcements about it. Yeah, you and Acacia are both 7 or gonna be 7. That's because Acacia was born in a leap year. Let's see. I think I will smoke another cigarette. But you're twice older. So does that mean you're 14 or 21? Like twice 7 plus 7? So you're 15 or 22? We do have some young people around here plenty of times. Um, and this whole vertical live streaming thing means that you get some random eyes around here, and some of them are probably actually children, you know. Raiden Shogun's not a new arrival. He's been around for a while. Seen him commenting and such, you know. Jayla has many, many angry faces, a total of 10. So that means her anger level is 10. I am so sorry to have driven you all the way up to anger level 10. You didn't deserve that. It's my fault, and I very much apologize for that. Oh, meow. Okay, all right. I guess we have to watch the caddy before I smoke the cigarette. Even though I've watched me, like, this is the 3rd time at least this morning since I got up, like, I don't know, 2+ hours ago. Why do you need to eat 3 times in 2 hours? What are you, a hummingbird? You know what one of my favorite jokes from yesterday's live stream was you can call anybody who farms figs a figger, just like people who farm plums are called plumbers. And just like people who farm grapes are called grapists. It is a nice cat. His name is Trouble. He's a wonderful cat, but he's also perfectly named. He's a lot of trouble. Like last night, he had like this mouthful of human hair that he couldn't seem to get off of his chin. Rachel had to pull the hair out of his mouth. What about pigs? I was just reflecting on my favorite joke from last night. That people who farm figs are called figgers, just like people who farm plums are called plumbers. And people who farm grapes are called grapists. Here in the Central Valley, it's mostly just figgers, plumbers, and grapists. Figgers, plumbers, and grapists is a great name for a live stream. People who farm oranges, I'm not sure what to call them. Orangers? Orangers? Okay. I wonder why people who own vineyards don't call themselves grapists. It seems like a perfectly reasonable name. There. How does that look? I'm a man standing in his garage. Because I'm so tall, it makes my garage look small. But really, right here, I'm guessing that's 7 feet. Because I'm 6'5". This fits out of the garage, no problem. It's, well, I guess it's not as tall as I am. I thought it was taller than me. I want $100. You want $100. Well, I I like those two sentences right next to each other. I'm sure the first one is true. The second one is not true. I don't want 100 dogs. I definitely diswant. I want to not have 100 dogs for sure. But I like the boldness of your claim, you know? If you're gonna insist I want something, why not make it 100 dogs? Okay, I know that doesn't matter. Oh, you can sell the dogs and get much more. You're assuming you've got valuable dogs reading Shogun. I mean, what if you just have regular old mutts that are already old and have diseases? If you have 100 of those dogs, you're probably not going to find any buyers for them. You know, a bunch of old diseased dogs. Hi, Rachel. See this? This. I apparently got. I don't know how I got this either weed or tobacco stain. My dog's names are Dolly and Flossie and Shifter. Well, cool. Hello, Dolly, Flossie, and Shifter. I hope you have a nice dog day and well, that's what I always used to say when I went to pick grapes on the vineyards. I'm saying, I'm off to be a grapist. And people would look at me weird. It wasn't until later I realized, oh, they must think I'm saying grappleist. Somebody wants to grapple. Yeah, I tell you who's an aspiring rapist is like every other retired man in financial planning commercials. Seems like fully half of them want to have a vineyard. Non-consensual naked grappling. That's what happened when Ruben started beating me at Greco-Roman bowling the other night. I just said, fuck no. I tackled his ass, you know. Yeah, exactly, Acacia. You and I are often on the same page with these things. It's not a terrible indicator that you have not mistyped yourself. INFP and ENFJ. What socionics intertype is that? ENFJ and INFP. 6215. Six two one five 37. Huh. So that would be like me and INTJ. Okay. So you have the relationship of me and INTJ. That's a pretty good pairing. Not terrible. You need help because your dogs are down? What? You just need to teach them better. You need to be a better school teacher. You sit them, make them sit in their desks, keep their textbooks open. Contrary, INFP and ENFJ? I don't think so. But you're probably right. Every time I say that to Rachel, I don't think so. I don't think Kirsten Dunst was in Kiki's Delivery Service. Well, she's right. Contrary is like INFJ and ESTJ, right? Or is that conflictor? That's conflictor, huh? Oh, right. Well, you're an INFJ in socionics. So if you're going to look up the intertype, you look up INFJ, ENFJ. If you were going to like Google it or something. But you put INF little j. Or you just put in EII. EII for INFP and EIE for ENFJ. EII and EIE. Well, I guess Rachel was right. Why do they call that contrary? It doesn't seem like a good name for that. I don't feel like INTJs and ENTPs are contrary relations. Let's see. EII and EIE intertype. Intertype relations. Extinguishing. Okay. Let me look at images. This is some subtype thing. Where's a straight up regular intertype thing? I want just the regular intertype table. There it is. Actually, this is a little bit different too. INF little p. Some correlations between what and what. It's like when people do shit like that, expected correlations between types. Correlation between what and what? You know, it's like you can't say there are this many correlations between ENTP and ISTP, which is ISTJ 79. Correlations between what and what? You know, it's like ridiculous. The kind of nonsense that passes intellectual work these days is ridiculous. Well, I still can't confirm it for myself. I'm just gonna have to accept that you guys are right. That is contrary, but I think possibly might also be called extinguishing. Socionics, intertype relations. This one looks like it uses MBTI types. So INFP and ENFJ extinguishing. So you guys say contrary, but it's also called extinguishing. Let me read about extinguishing relations. In these relations, it is difficult to achieve full understanding. Despite many mutual interests and common ground, partners often argue about petty details to which they pay too much attention. These relations are called extinguishment because partners extinguish each other's initiatives, sometimes by highlighting their shortcomings, other times by their inability to further and support such initiative. With such a partner, it's difficult to find considerable support for one's projects, but it's also interesting to exchange opinions, suggestions, and requests. Contrary partners get along better when they work separately, since together they pay too much attention to minor mistakes of each other. Such criticism or received especially painfully in the presence of strangers. Partner, third parties upset this delicate balance even more. If someone's personal interests have been infringed upon, these relations can fall apart. They are more tolerant at a certain distance. With close and prolonged contact, fatigue and irritation set in due to protracted disputes. Well, that doesn't sound good. Here's another description of it. Extinguishment partners are very much alike. Their interests often intersect over a very wide area. However, those functions that are in the creative block of one partner form the id block of another. Thus, your extinguishment partner talks about those things that you implement subconsciously and find too common sense to talk about. This can be rephrased as follows: extinguishment partners have opposing views on the same topics. Well, the idea that your extinguishment partner talks about those things that you implement subconsciously and find too common sense to talk about, well, that doesn't make sense because that would be the case if you're 1, 2, or they're 7, 8. So, like, if Rachel's 7 and 8 were TI and NE, or vice versa, NETI, then that would make sense. But, like for me, to have that description, one partner talks about those things that you implement subconsciously and find too constant to talk about. That's the thing that's going to be two, your tool function specifically, versus their 8 or 7. This describes the relation as follows. The adult part of one partner interacts with the self confident teenager part of the other. The teenager, meanwhile, tries to prove that he indeed knows something too. Adult is annoyed by this arrogance and, when possible, aims to put the teenager in his place. Ironically, the situation often leads to professional success of partners. For example, in my research, I have been very much helped by discussions with my extinguishment relation. Listening to him was not always pleasant, and from aside, our conversations might not have looked pretty, yet they were very helpful and even irreplaceable. Hmm. When alone, these people can have many interesting one on one conversations and feel amazement and wonder at each other's originality of thought. Hmm. Well, now I want to read the Wiki Scion regarding Mirage. Let's see. Semi-duals. Let's see. Mirage, Chapter 3. Here, just like in the case of duality, partners are able to help each other through the connections between second and third channels. However, there is no complementary connection between first and fourth channels. I don't know what their channels they're referring to here are. It's not a good distinction to make, because socionics wants to like restack the stack and number them differently than the normal order. But so okay, let's see. In these relations, it's not readily evident that the fourth channel of each partner is not receiving any support. Generally, these relations are quite pleasant, but no more than that. The strong functions of the partners are essentially the same, just of different orientation. Thus, the strong function of a partner is not appreciated as in I can do the same, while the weak function is presented in an unfavorable light. Thus, partners perceive each other as not exceptionally significant or authoritative, but charming and captivating, with whom it would be nice to spend some time, but not get into any important ventures. Exceptions are situations when mutual activity falls completely into the area of influence of first channel. So, in other words, when our situations of mutual activity are purely intuitive, Rachel and I are golden. Well, that's like our whole life. So, and this one here's a ENTP talking specifically of his relations with an INFJ. We first met a few months ago, but already know each other well, and we've become much attached to one another. We have great rapport, many common aspirations and interests, though it is difficult to fully share his love of art, and for him, my addiction to systematic thinking. We love to philosophize together, to talk about the meaning of life and love, and then laugh at our own discussions. We also work together productively. I'm attracted to his philosophical mindset, his ability to offer support in difficult times. It helps me better understand my place in life. On the other hand, I think he likes me for my calm optimism, a kind of free thinking and abstract humor. This passage illustrates well the supportive partners for each other's weak function. INFJ helps ENTP cope with emotional experiences. ENTP helps INFJ with logical analysis. Both of them at this point don't need to address any relation issues related to sensing, comfort, well-being, health. This part of the life is of little concern for them. As for the good results of their joint work, here, of course, comes into play effect of strong intuitive functions of different orientation, such that the partners are guaranteed to come to the best intuitive approach to any problem. In general, it can be surmised that these people exist comfortably with each other. Comfort of life together was expressed well by a 50-year-old ENTP who defined his relationship with his wife, INFJ, in the following manner. It's as if I'm walking in time worn slippers. Hmm. So that's a more positive description of mirage relations than I've typically read in the past. This person says, in this case, we see that these relations are deprived not only comfort, but also lacking in most basic understanding. And this is the formal presence of some of the same mirage. What is it? The problem lies in fundamentally different attitudes. Like the mother belongs to a heavier variety of her type. This is the same kind of, this is specifically about IEE and ILI, which is a different kind of, a different example of mirage. But in mirage relations, there is no communication of identical functions. Well, I mean, that's not true because both partners share TI and FE in our instance, or they share the 2-3. So that's weird to say that. But this is why I don't take socionics very seriously because they've got a bunch of sections. They've got intertype relations by Filatova, Ekaterina Filatova. And they've got in this WikiScience a bunch of different other authors that they have these by, right? They all have somewhat different explanations for why things are this way or that way. So that's never a good sign. Good morning, Sean Ryan Bear. I confused you yesterday. I thought Chris Chapman was you and you were Chris Chapman for a moment. I'm sorry about that. I wanted to apologize right off the bat as soon as I saw you. Chris Chapman's not an INFJ. It was Sean Ryan Barron who was the INFJ. Chris Chapman was instead I'm going to go with either John or Sob. Yeah. The point is, it's fine to explain it in a descriptive way. In a descriptive way, have different people describing it somewhat differently. But people providing different explanations as to why it's described like that, that's what makes socionics unacceptable. If they had a clear understanding of the mechanics of it that was shared, then the explanations as to why would all be the same. Dapper suit is deceiving, meaning in real life, you're less dapper than you appear in a suit. I think that's pretty much everybody, though, right? Does anybody appear more dapper in sweats and a t-shirt? Well, I mean, I do, but I actually appear more dabber, more like a dabber that way. I'm not a dabber, but I play one on TV. I got this thing instead of a dab thing. This is what's called a heavy hitter. Why is it called that, you might wonder? I'm not sure why it's called that, but that's what it's called. We got 3 of these things yesterday, 2 of which are down here at the moment. I actually find that in general, these are less coffee, substantially less coffee than just even smoking a bowl. But yeah, you gotta warm your lungs up a bit in the morning. Can't just go full blast right away. Where from? Me and Rachel are Mirage. And, you know, a correct description of INFJ ENTP Mirage type is that the weaknesses come also as a strength. Neither Rachel nor I wants to be pushed on either of our S's at all, 4 or 8. Nobody does. But everybody needs to be pushed on those a little bit. So, you know, as a consequence, Rachel and I are very good at being lazy together, not SEing, and at not necessarily taking very good care of ourselves. But we've improved a lot in that department, I'd like to think. Like, you know, it used to be the case that I would have probably been like, well, come on, Rachel, let's just turn around and go back home tonight instead of spending the night in a hotel in Los Angeles. Just save the money, let's just do it. But now I understand, and you know, Rachel's SI better and her SE limits better, SESI limits better. She understands them better, I'm sure, than she ever has before. In fact, she mentioned something like that in the car when we were driving back. You know, just a little older and wiser. But it's also the case that we are unusually and remarkably empowered to not be good at sensing stuff. Most people have to get more stuff done than Rachel and I do. Rachel and I have such a small amount of stuff that we really have to get done that it doesn't engender any conflicts between us. But also, we just sort of naturally take our own, just find and fill our own sphere of responsibility. Uh, we don't have to talk about, we never did talk about, like, well, you're going to do this, I'm going to do that, except after the fact, as like, hey, it turned out that I do this and you do that, even though we never talked about it. So, in that regard, I've got my weak SI fourth slot, but plenty of opportunity to indulge it. And I think that to a certain extent, Rachel's SI benefits from seeing my kind of childish fourth slot SI be conscious. Rachel, I don't know if I help her SE much, but her SE in some ways is definitely better than mine. Like yesterday when we got home, she pushed ahead and made sure we got these Christmas ornaments purchased for the tree that we have to decorate for the Christmas party in time for us to actually, get them and put them on the tree and such. So, I should have made that. That should have made it in because I backboarded it off of the water heater perfectly, but it bounced too far, so it didn't go in the trash can. I didn't know that backboard was so bouncy. So, it's like if you were going to critique the Mirage relation, and I think every relation has its critique ability, the critique would be, that's great if life demands very little of you, but it might be a tough relationship if we were both having to work a lot. Then presumably there might be some conflict over the sensory stuff at home, but I doubt it. I don't know. Rachel and I just never seem to have any conflict. It's got to be the easiest relations to be in, because duality, the critique of duality is this. It's like your dual shifts the frame of your dominant function from what it natively is into the other partner's version of that. So it's like when I was with an ISFJ, I sure did spend a lot of time SEing her very physical NE ideas, and she didn't spend a lot of time, but was sort of situationally asked to spend a lot of time listening and considering things I said, which is not really what SI is naturally ultimately designed for. It's a non-communicative function by nature. So yeah, duality provides you more support in your fourth slot function, but it also subverts your dominant to some areas of life that aren't natively who you are. Like, I'm proud of, in some ways, the accomplishment of building that chicken house that I built in Laverne for Kimberly, because it came out incredibly, incredibly good. I'm shocked at how much of a handle I put on that shit. You know, it's like I had no idea I could build a little house, provided somebody gives me a foundation to build on. It already had a flat concrete slab to build on top of, you know. I would have said, there's no way I'd be able to build it. It's going to look terrible. But with Kimberly complaining the whole time and, you know, insisting everything looked nice or whatever, I put together a badass little house. It turned out to be sturdy as fuck too. It's like we had a really hardcore winter that winter after I built that chicken coop. The chickens were dry and warm, comfortable, and happy in that chicken house. No problem. No water got in there. And we made it entirely out of reclaimed material. They just found wood around people's old wood and stuff that people were throwing away or whatever, and found some tin roofing stuff. Of course, the materials that weren't reclaimed were the screws. I had to buy a lot of screws, and I used a few nails, but mostly screws. Anyway, the point is, well, I like that memory of having built that thing. I like to remember how it did make me feel pretty accomplished. But that's me working outside of any area of work that I am talented at. You know, it's like it's a testimony to the fact that 6-slot TE can be brought to heel if you have enough of an SE frame driving your basic validation. You know, if I'm with an ISFJ, she's validating 5th slot SE. That's her absolute value for the external world. In order for me to qualify for such, I have to either be doing stuff that makes money or that makes chicken houses, not that makes live streams like this. So that's the problem with duality. Ultimately, is it's I think usually, if you're not with a broken person, a very comfortable relationship too. Ultimately, but I just don't think. I think that the mystery dissipates quickly. You know, Rachel will always be somewhat mysterious to me because she's an NI user and I'm an SI user. We know in different ways. And, you know, depending on what we're knowing about, either of our knowledge functions might be more or less desirable for the circumstances than the other one, you know. Having both available is good, given that we're both intuitives. I repurpose my experiential knowledge generally for NI reasons anyway. But you know, it's like I can really see the difference in our functions. Like when we were driving down to LA, she mentioned she has this pull tarot cards app on her phone that keeps track of which cards she's pulled the most of. So she was like, I'm having trouble understanding what the 8 of Cups means for me. And I said, well, can you read the description of the card to me? So she put it on my phone, read this for me automatically. And I listened to it for quite some time. And the thing is, it was all about getting past old emotional stuff, old trauma, whatever. The cups on that card are pictured in 3 groups, 3 sets. A set of 5, which represents regret or two of girls, one of cups. Um, which represents regret or your past emotionalities that you're getting beyond, right? And then there's a two of cups, which represents either the alternative to that past stuff, which is like emotional bonding with another person, or the one of cups, which is like a new emotional endeavor or something. So the point of that card is you're moving past these five of cups, which represent regret, bad emotional stuff, and that lets you either be two of cups or one of cups. But the thing is, Rachel was having trouble understanding it because, of course, it required her to begin with the notion that what it was telling her was that she was processing old emotional stuff. But being an NI Dom means SI is 8 slot, ultra unconscious. She just inherently, implicitly, always is going to default to assuming that looking backwards is not going to be providing information. Looking to her own experience is not going to be providing useful information on things. So when the card's description is processing old emotional stuff, she's like, what could this possibly mean? Well, just because she's super unconscious of SI and FI is countervalued in 6 slots, so it's kind of halfway between conscious and unconscious. Um, she is baffled by the idea that reviewing her previous experiences to see what kind of emotional impacts that might have and processing those in some sort of active way could possibly even ever happen. It's like that's just where her function stack is, you know? So obviously when dealing with subjectivities, she bypasses what one would consider the normal routes of subjective calculation, which is say looking at how she feels. If she's having to feel how she feels, then somebody's not paying attention enough to her subtle cues. um, and obviously, she's more or less incapable of reviewing SI in a conscious way because eighth is the most unconscious function. Just like I'm more or less incapable of consciously SEing. That's why this shit just sort of randomly happens, you know? Like, I didn't know when I got up on Sunday that we were going to Los Angeles. It just sort of the idea struck me at some point. Yeah, we could go to LA. See what Rachel thinks about it. But even then, I was like, I got a couple of ideas. We could either like go to town or we could go to LA. So, you know, it's a big difference between those two things. Thanks, Misty Doy. I am well. How are you? I hope you are well also. Um, this jacket was my father's jacket. I inherited it. I liked it, so I kept it. Most of his clothes were not so good. He was the classic fashion blind squirrel. Yes, occasionally he had a cool thing like this jacket or those sunglasses I was wearing. But most of his stuff was horrible. He did not believe in like he was more of the mindset that clothes were first and foremost for functionality. He had a fanny pack, some short pants on, some flip flops, or maybe some like gaudy, horrible running shoes, and you know, some horrible pastel shirt that said Palm Springs bike race on it or something. But but he did have some cool things, you know. He did have a few cool fashiony things. For a little while after he died, I tried going around wearing his fanny pack. I thought, oh well, you know, my dad's good at TE stuff. He seems to have his fanny pack set up well. Maybe I'll try to emulate this. No. it's I I just couldn't handle the SITE of a fanny pack successfully. Keeping certain thing in certain spot every time, just couldn't do it. I just can't carry that many things with me, except in my pockets. You know, you got your wallet in one pocket, your keys in the other pocket, your phone preferably in the jacket pocket, your cigarettes and wallet. I mean, your cigarettes and lighter in like ideally a shirt chest pocket right here. But as the Rolling Stones once famously said, you can't always get what you want. That's why today I have no pocket right here. But I was unable to get what I wanted today without changing my shirt. And that's definitely asking way too much. See, one nice thing about Mirage relations with INFJ and TP is because of the lack of sensoriness, both Rachel and I are pretty gross. Like, we don't necessarily shower that often. Rachel brushes her teeth more than I brush mine. I figure at this point, I got so few teeth, that's why I even bother. But it doesn't bug either of us. I don't think we find the other person gross. We probably find ourselves more gross than the other person. I was thinking to high heaven yesterday because I didn't have any deodorant on, but it wasn't until I got back home that I realized why I didn't have any deodorant. It's like, oh, that's right. I ran out of deodorant like 2 weeks ago, and I keep meaning to get more, and I keep forgetting to get it. So then I just squirted some Dracar Noir on my armpits. Something tells me I'm about to go poo. What is that thing that tells you that, Eric? Well, it's my butt. My butt is the thing that tells me I'm about to go poo. Although really it's more like the inside of my butt tells me. It's a better orator than the outside of my butt. The outside of my butt has a terrible speech impediment. Whereas the inside of my butt has been compared to Churchill, JFK, and interestingly, Bjork. But I guess that's just because the inside of my butt's so quirky. It's so quirky and from Iceland. Okay, well, that's my second poo of the morning. So, neither of them were real, record setters or anything, but if I can get a third poo that size out of my butt, the three combined would comprise easily a single very large poo, so even those two poos might be adequate. Might be a morning's worth of poos. It's conceivable. I don't know, I just have a sense, a little bit of a feeling of a sense of a feeling that I might have a third poo in me. If I have 5 million views, surely I have 3 poos. I'm not sure about your logic there. Well, are you sure about my bug hat? Now I don't even know what you're talking about. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you. What am I going to show you? What's inside these bags. That's what I'm going to show you. The exciting world of inside these bags. Drumsticks. I got these for my prostate, but I'm actually more excited about them as drumsticks. Makes me want to play with them right now. Now, let's open this other one before we play with the drumsticks. These are our hats. And I think you're going to be very impressed when you see this hat. I like these bags too. I don't mind keeping this bag for something else, It's got a zipper on it. Oh, it looks like it's already broke. Nope, it's fine. It's got 2 holes in it. What could I put in here? I don't know. Any number of possible things, really. Now let's put on this hat so you can see what it is. See, it's a bug hat to keep the bugs out of your face. Seems like it's going to be very effective too. So good for us. We now can take a walk without getting any bugs near us. We've put off taking a walk for months because we mentioned months ago that, well, we really need to get some bug hats. But, I was planning on getting them at the store. My prostate does sometimes need massaging. But to be honest, I figured out since I've moved here that I can get it fine with my middle finger if I sit a certain way in the shower. And just push on it as hard as you can. And then it's like after I do that, then that night I might sleep 4 hours without getting up to pee. Instead of an hour and a half or 2 hours. That also has to do with how much poop I have in my butt. If I have a lot of poop in me, like I've gotten constipated or something, then I have to get up to pee a lot more often. So anyway, I don't really need the drumsticks for the prostate purpose. I think Rachel just wants to stick something in my ass. But, I consider that her job. I can do that myself. Just fine. Alright, now we're going to play the drums. These drumsticks instead. been a while since I played the drums. I wish I had a kick drum. I could kick it. Let's see if I can make a makeshift kick drum. Can you make a kick drum? A drum, a kicky drum. Can you make a kicky drum? With this lamp and both of your thumbs. Maybe. Yes. Gotta drop the drumstick. This isn't a very good kick drum. And I'm not a very good drummer either, so that's two big problems with this whole operation I've got going here. I don't have any drums. I do have this thing. I don't have a kick drum, but I do have this lamp that I could. I'll probably end up breaking the lamp as one of the problems too. Maybe I should get a different kick drum. How about this? No, this is too full of liquid. How about this? Maybe this will be fine. And kick this orange juice. It's not very loud. What would be a good kick drum to kick? I could just kick the floor, I guess. Yeah. It's kind of hard with flip-flops and tongs, too. And that's playing the drums with Eric. Okay. The drums, unlike the guitar, well, I can sing and play the drums at the same time. I actually drum better when I'm singing. Let me go ahead and try singing a song with these drums. Tuesday morning is the day today. Tuesday morning it's just totally okay because everybody knows that Tuesday is the worst day. Tuesday, yeah, Tuesday sucks. Everybody knows it. Tuesday bucks only spend at 1/4 per dollar. It probably bothers Rachel. It is 5 in the morning. She probably just got to sleep and she hears me drumming and singing the Tuesday morning song. Well, you know, that's just what Tuesday mornings are all about, I guess. Being woken up early by your inconsiderate husband. Just all part of the Tuesday vibe. Well, that's good that I have drumsticks now. These are not as fine-tipped drumsticks as I would like for drumming, but I'm sure they're fine for prostate poking. If I really wanted to make the neighbors happy, I'd get a drum kit. If I wanted to actually make myself happy, I'd probably get one of those electronic drum kits where you can trigger it with the pads and change the kit. You know, Corey used to have one of those. I used to play with it all the time. That's me on the drums and Visalia, you know. Me playing on his electric drum kit with the triggerable pads. That would be a worthwhile thing to get, you know. But I don't know. I seem to be in a musical creation fallow period. Like we're listening to plenty of music, but I'm not really writing things. I'm sort of waiting for all of the listening I've done to process or something. Because I suspect when I get back to like songwriting, I'll discover that I'm like better at it than I was last time I did it. Tuesday morning at 5 o'clock as the day begins. It's not that kind of song. Chris Chapman, I think that's a fair critique. Tuesday morning's not like Sunday evening. Sunday evening, of course, is a time to write terrible songs about lemons. What will you do on a Sunday evening? Write some terrible songs about lemons. What you gonna do on a Sunday evening? Stand by the lemon tree. None of these things are weed. I try to get the big bag of weed I took with me in the car to LA to grind some of it, but I guess it's still in the car. And I'm really lazy. So I guess I'll just get some of this old shake or something. I don't know. Of course, probably my best recent songwriting effort is one that I will share with you here in a second. So I'll play it for you right now. Get the link for it. I'm blue, da ba dee da ba dee, ba ba dee ba da boo, ba dee da da dee. Where is it? Check it out, yo. Here it is. I'm gonna get the link. I'm gonna put it here for you, but then I'll put it on the speakers so you can hear it in a second. You'll recognize it. You'll know. This is ready enough for that. Don't boil me alive. Gotta care for Jesus. Boil me alive. Boil me 5 times. Ready enough for that. Boil me alive. We gotta have a beast. You gotta care for G's now, please realize. That's the loop of it. It didn't loop very well in the clip, but the point is, please don't boil me alive. Vince Strong, hello, good day, good morning, and good afternoon. We wish you all the best here on the internet. I am doing well. You know, better than bad anyway. And, you know, I'd say I'm doing better than fine. I'd go all the way to good, maybe even very good. Feeling pretty cheerful. I got just a whisper of amphetamines in this bong rip. So that'll always cheer you up, you know. A lot of people think you can't smoke Adderall. That's not true. You can. I mean, sure. It can be a little bindery. But I tell you this, the 30s that I got from Pioneer Market last month. Oh yeah, you can smoke it. No, you can't smoke the XR. You have to only smoke IR. You can't smoke XR. They're those little balls, you know, inside the capsule. If you open up an XR, it's full of these little teeny balls. I've tried to smoke that before, but it really doesn't smoke well at all. It's really harsh, gross. Like whatever the binder is in those little balls inside the capsule, um, you don't want. It's not worth smoking it. You're just wasting it. But if you like the football shaped orange 30s that I got from Pioneer Market last month, those things smoke beautifully. Yeah, they're about the same size as one of these 10 milligrams, these blue ones. So that just means these 10 milligrams have 3 times as much binder in them. Now, oops. That was the wrong piece to do that with. If you get generic Adderalls, you will discover that depending on the manufacturer, it can smoke a lot better or a lot worse. Straight up dexedrine smokes even better. Of course, neither of them smoke anywhere near as well as meth, but at some point in life, you just gotta give up on the meth and say, as a 52-year-old man, I'm just gonna have to live with the fact that I don't do meth anymore. Haven't for a long time. Haven't, done it, like hardcore for a long time. But I did do it within the last 5 to 10 years on more than one occasion. But I haven't done it in the last 4 years. $5 million is your entire country. Well, it doesn't take 5 million people to get 5 million views. So maybe 100,000 people at most, I would guess. Yeah, I went through a little phase where I got back into it when I was in Laverne for a stretch. Probably, I don't remember exactly this is the case, but it wouldn't surprise me if still a whole city. Well, yeah, but that's over 12 years, Jabaj J. So if in fact your city had over the course of 12 years 100,000 people living in it, well, that would only be like less than 10,000 people a year. So regardless, the point is, my views. The thing is, like last month, I got 130 some thousand views, and I made $68. The thing to note about the 138,000 is that's like 1/50th of the total amount of views in last month. But I bet have way more than 50 months put into YouTube. So view numbers going up, but that had a lot to do with shorts, and shorts views sort of don't count as much. They certainly don't pay very much because I, granted, I never monetize my live streams because I always it requires me to go to another screen. Like I have to push the advanced settings thing, go there, switch it on. And since I started streaming on my phone, I just I don't know. I just never even remember to think about it until I have monetized one stream and like since I started using the phone, I think, or you know, maybe not that long, but in the last few months, I remembered to monetize one of them. So, uh, yeah, don't do meth, kids. You know, it's got its good, it's got its pros and its cons, but overall, the cons outweigh. It's like you can get plenty tweaked out just on Adderall for any reasonable purposes. If you want to get so much tweaked out that Adderall's not going to do the job, well then you're probably wanting to get too tweaked out. You don't. There's nothing that you need to be that tweaked out to do that you could possibly want to do. You know, vacuuming your front yard or whatever, as the meth pea lady was joking about, is the only possible outcome. You do something totally dumb and pointless like that. But I mean, not necessarily. Like I wrote Gospel of Pantheon, full length novel on meth. Came out pretty damn good, really. Especially considering how long ago it was that I wrote that, because that was like 2000, 2001, 2002, something like that. Maybe it was, yeah, it had to be that. 2003, maybe. I don't know, somewhere around there. And like that was, it may have even been a little later than that because that was the last significant thing I did before quitting meth. Like after I finished writing that book, shortly thereafter I quit doing it. So the problem with it, of course, is that it's methylated. I don't know why that makes such a big difference, but apparently it does make a big difference in your experience of it. It seems to last longer than any other amphetamine. But it's hard to tell when you're hitting that speed pipe all day long. You know, you go. let me just take another hit or two off this. And it's like 8 hours later, and you're like, well, I'm getting tired. Let me just take one more or two more hits off this thing. It's like 8 hours later. Is Adderall valuable as a mood enhancer considering SI impacts? I mean, I think it's a zero sum net thing. Whatever you get in mood enhancement, you pay back in mood depression afterwards and sleepy week. The reason why it's still a net advantage is because you're awake during all the time. You have the mood enhancement part, and you're only awake during a little bit of the time when you have the mood depression part. So since you can usually turn your FI just directly into SI, if you're FI polar. Oh my God, is that a huge spider right there? Yeah, it is. Oh my God, why is this huge spider in here? Let me show it to you. There. There it is. So, what am I going to do about it? Oh, he's moving. He's walking around now. He's out to get us. Well, I guess I could kill you with fire, or I could kill you, or I could put you outside and like be cool, but you're such a big spider. It's like, do I really want to bother carrying you outside? Hmm. Can you not even climb over that cord? Are you that lame of a spider? Let's see. If I could get this spider to go inside of this thing, then I could carry it outside easily enough. But don't scare me, because if you do, then I'm going to have to kill you. Do you want to go in here, or do you want to die? Those are your choices. Okay, he went in here successfully. I got him in this thing. There he is. See him? I don't think he can climb out of that, hopefully. But just in case he can, I'm going to put this lid on. Now, I will carry him outside, and like a real, genuine Buddhist or something, I will throw him outside instead of killing him. Try petting it. I don't want to pet a spider. Spiders aren't soft and furry. Spiders are gross and scary. Spiders are gross and scary. I don't even like them at all. Okay, here we go. All right, there. I got rid of that horrible spider. It reminds me of this one scene in the book Generation X by Douglas Copeland, in which he like can't take a bath for a week because there's a spider in his bathtub. He doesn't want to bother it. Meow. Well, what? What are you meowing about? Are you meowing about the wonderful world of kitties? Meow. Meow. Yes, Daddy knows. And Daddy loves. And Daddy admires. And Daddy observes. And Daddy emulates. And Daddy praises. Oh, yes. And Daddy hears. And Daddy responds. Meow. What are you meowing about so much, huh? Captain meows a lot. Look at your sister. She's just sleeping peacefully, like a normal, sane cat. Meanwhile, you're over there meowing so loud you could wake the dead. Not sure you quite understand how death works. And the ways in which it's distinct from sleep, for example. I'm not going to watch you eat again, Trouble. It's just too much for any human being to tolerate. Meow, me what now? Me whoa, me who ho, me where, beware. I don't think that you care, but I know that you're a kitty, 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 kitty man. Made out of kitty, kitty sand. I'm feeling like a kitty, kitty grand piano. Made out of grand missing pianos. Yeah, you are trouble. Trouble. Plug it in. It's 5 in the morning and Rachel's asleep. She would not be pleased with Eric. She would be disappointed in Eric, I'm confident. Were I to plug in right now. Nothing. I got 16 hours to dawn. And a good God, it never takes this long. I wish I could know how to play that song right. It's a great song. It's one of Corey's songs, but I don't even have any recording of it. I'm not singing it quite right. I'm not playing it quite right, but it's a real gem. Fuck that bitch, man. Fuck that bitch for destroying that man's genius. I think what I'll play right now is a song. What other Corey songs can I play? Well, the reason, I can't remember how to play that song either. Can't remember how to play any of his songs, but I wish I could, because he sure does have a lot of good ones. I could figure out how to play Siddhartha Sedate again, but man, it sucks so much. People don't, even regular people around here, do not get how good Corey is. He's this just genius that's lost to time. He doesn't have any good enough recordings of his shit to justify, like to really to. Yeah, none of this shit is recorded as well as it should be, or produced as well as it should be. But he still, man, he just managed to come up with some fantastic stuff. But you know, it makes me feel like a jazzy kind of sad when I think about what a jazzy kind of bad deal he got from life with his countess of a wife who destroyed his fucking life. Oh yeah. It's like I consider her a friend of mine too, but it's increasingly impossible for me to treat as normalized something that appalling. It's like when you're young and stupid and you don't know anything about anything and you're just like, well, this is just how it is between them, I guess. I don't know. Especially if you're an SI user like me, and you have to wait until you have your own relationship with a BPD person to realize how fucking horrible and fucked up it is, you know? And then it takes you 2.5 years to give up trying to fix the bitch. Just terrible. You go play. We need to see. We need to know. We need to pen happening. Now rise some means to judge our logic to life we decisively unlike and from which we'll rarely budge. People everywhere gather up in meetings, outraged at how they miss a sign. How do they set their priorities? How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities into with heartache and misery, follow necessarily from their savage ways. And I have been part in the We're stuck with Portland Desert. We all partition the rectories and calling destruction of the whole damn world. Judy shares now her limits, hoping Julie will too. Jerry shares for 4 minutes. He just can't share things like they do. Judy soon forgot about shit and although she had recalled that she will die. Julie should have bought you when she had the chance to, but she hung her children. People everywhere gather up enemies, outraged at how they miss the sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities, pursuing heartache and misery, follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting Carson and Desiree, we're stuck with such petty larceny. We all partition the rectories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Boom. Well, I messed it up obviously in multiple places, but that's the gist of it. One of those songs that I have memorized but don't have written down anywhere, so I have to play it periodically or I forget how to play it. One of the many horrible dumbnesses of Eric. Eric and his many horrible dumbnesses. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna play it. I've got a match, but she's got a lighter. I was high, but he was higher. I was high, but she was much higher. I was blind, but she was the sky. Oh, baby, I was down to Mexico. Oh, baby, I went down to let you go. Oh, I don't know much about Cinco de Mayo. I'm never sure what it's all about. You say you love me, but you don't believe me. I say you love me, but you got my doubts. Oh, baby, I went down to Mexico. Oh, baby, I was down to let you go. Kind of makes me want to play another waltz. That song, Chris Chapman, is a cake song. It's called Mexico. It's a great song. It's a little hard for me to play. I haven't played it in a while, but I didn't sing the lyrics to it very well. But I want to play another waltz. I'm going to play two more waltzes, in fact. First, I'm going to play Sad Lover's Waltz by Camper Van Beethoven. See if this plays right. One step for boys and one step for girls. Step away. One step for you and one step for me. Step away. But don't take the third step, 'cause that's just a sad lover's waltz. You don't take the third step, 'cause that's just a sad lover's waltz. One step for anger and one step for pain. Step away. One for the right and one for the wrong. Step away. But don't take the third step, 'cause that's just the sad lover's waltz. So don't take the third step, 'cause that's just a sad lover's waltz. One step for boys and one step for girls. Step away. One step for you and one step for me. Step away. One more step makes three, and three steps that makes a waltz. So don't take the third step, 'cause that's just a sad lover's waltz. And it's by Camper Van Beethoven. I haven't played that in many, many years, so it's not surprising that I struggled a little bit with it. Now, I'm going to play another waltz. This one is called Sad Songs and Waltzes by Willie Nelson. Of all the waltzes I've played here, this is the best one. This is the most impressive bit of songwriting. Although I agree that kick song's great, but this is yet another Willie Nelson masterpiece. I'm writing a song all about you. A true song as real as my tears. But there's no need to fear it, 'cause no one will hear it. Sad songs and waltzes aren't selling this year. I'll tell all about how you cheated. I'd like for the whole world to hear. I'd like to get even with you, 'cause you're leaving. But sad songs and waltzes aren't selling this year. It's a good thing that I'm not a star. You don't know how lucky you are. Though my record may say it, no one will play it. Sad songs and waltzes aren't selling this year. It's a good thing that I'm not a star. You don't know how lucky you are. For though my records may say it, no one will play it. Sad songs and waltzes aren't selling this year. That's a beautiful song. Oh my God. What a great composition. What brilliant lyrics, but what a brilliant, amazing composition that song is. That's a piece of genius. Yeah, it really is. Makes me feel a wonderful feeling in my heart. Like, oh, Willie Nelson, you're so good. How did you get to be such a kick ass songwriter? Wow. What pure genius. Well, I guess now, given everything that we have to consider, I think now I will play a waltz that I wrote. Of course, I have to follow Willie Nelson's waltz, which is I'm not gonna do very well in that battle. I'm gonna lose that fantasy football matchup. All right. Nevertheless, I lost my fantasy football matchup this week too. Rachel won hers. I was favored, actually, it was like a 50-50 toss up in the projections, but I got my ass kicked again. So, I don't know. And we should have played Cole Kemet, who had a huge day as the Bears tight end. Rachel's got 3 tight ends on her roster, and we always pick the wrong one. If Jesus was people but absent of sin, he must then have struggled with regular men and women, of course, when they too were present. Disciples all warily eyeing the lesson. If people were Jesus, they'd know as they think, and everyone's work would be true. Feelings once spoken would sit where they sing, and we'd all know just what to do. But people aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. Easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. The one you thought you knew acts like you never have met. The life you made for two has faded into regret. There's no one unshaken, we all have been shook, but being forsaken don't mean you forsook. And though in the past we've been hung out to dry, we'll find them at last if we're willing to try. People aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. Easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. Yeah, baby, naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. Well, I think that song's better than the Camper Van Beethoven song. Maybe. It's not as good as the Cake song or the Willie Nelson song. But it's my best waltz, so that's what I have to offer in the waltz department. It could even potentially live up to such high standards. It's not keyed well for my voice. I need to key it, transpose it down a half step, a whole step, or something. But unfortunately, I don't have that convenient function the Guitar Tab site has to transpose shit. And I don't want to try to do it on the fly. The alternative is to actually go and transpose it by hand. Like, okay, well, what's one whole step down from G? That's F. Okay. What's a whole step down from C again? That's B flat. Okay. I have to do that the whole time. The whole thing. And that would just be that's too much work for little old Eric. So he'll just continue singing it in the wrong key. Amelia, go from that place. Take unto you the details of your case. Amelia, when you rise above, floating ahead and soaring like a dove. What will they say when they look at you then, moving sideways in the space you're in, and tearing sidelong with your thirsty grin? Amelia, can't you see that you and I will never be? Amelia, yet you're still free, with too much opportunity to leave out in the rain. Amelia, this is too fast. I can't play it that fast. It should probably be that fast. Almost, maybe. But I can't play it that fast. Because I'm too shitty at my music. Oh, he came here with her. And what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate claiming to blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he got you refraining for him, straining for him, going to the gym to make yourself good enough again. Oh, Derek, why do you suck so hard? Why? Yeah, you guys both have lots invested. That's not a reason to stay around. Through the years, you've both been tested. And time to move up. Find higher ground. Boom, 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 boom. I don't feel like playing another verse of it. Why bother? Who needs more verses? That song's too hard to play. That song's for cheap people. All right, I'll play Wonderful, Wonderful Kitty. I can do that. I can do that much for you. Nothing more. Okay? That's it. Wonderful, wonderful kitty, having wonderful fun. Always cleaning yourself, making sure you got clean lines. Wonderful, wonderful kitty, is such a fabulous old friend. And now it's wonderful kitty petting time again. Just let me pet you, don't walk away. It's petting time, and wonderful, wonderful kitty, having wonderful times. Always cleaning yourself, making sure you got clean lines. But your wonderful kitty is a fabulousness I've never encountered before. And I know that I want to pet my kitty some more. Just let me pet you, don't walk away. Sorry, trouble. My petting time today. One of my strums, I woke him up. He was sitting over there. I woke him up and he looked at me like, "What are you doing? And why are you doing it? Shouldn't you go away?" That's what people usually say to me when I play music. Shouldn't you go away? Would be kind of harsh response. And too much noise in the data stream. Too much noise in the data stream. Loud enough to disrupt everybody's dreams. A frustration scene, mistakes remain, until it seems everybody's just throwing shade. I won't be another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday. It's not the sort of thing that one can borrow. No one willing to lend that day. Your uncertainty's implicit, just like an unexpected visit from a bunch of men all dressed in blue suits. I won't be another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday. That's a pretty good song. As things that are shitty go, you know, among shitty things, that's not bad. It's not so much that your songs are terrible, it's that you need to do more comparing them against things that are really terrible. Like compared to Cancer, you know, your songs are pretty great. You mean the astrological sign? No. I mean malignant, life-ending cancer. Well, I'm glad I'm better than that. You should be. It'd be terrible if you were worse than that. You'd be like Dave Matthews. Delilah Schmishmila, you mean? Like that kind of a rhyme? Delilah already has a song for herself. It's called Hey There, Delilah. And it's a pretty good song, you know. She got lucky in that regard. I've got rubber bands in my hands. I'm pushing six in my pants. I spent about half my advance just trying to get you. You taste like warm apple pie. You say you're single, you lie. I saw them texts from that guy. Man, whatever. So love me. Don't give me love. Gotta fuck me. Don't give a fuck. You can try to make me think that I'm the only one, but I know you got a man. That's such a great song. I'm just so in love with that song. This is I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there you can see it. Good. Some spooky morning fog. Spooky morning mountain fog. Oh my God, what's that dark figure right there? I'm not standing in front of the camera. Is that a goat? It's a shadow person. I've heard about those on. Oh, it is me. Never mind. Sorry. Well, unless the shadow person's also smoking. I've got rubber bands in my hand. Oh, is that Jupiter? Look how bright Jupiter is. Let me turn the camera around so I can Jupiter your asses. You're going to be so Jupitered when you see this. You're going to be like, oh my God. He was right. That is so Jupiter. Let's see if I can find it. It should be right there somewhere. But I do not see it. Probably because it's blocked by the branch. There, now you can see it. There it is. See it? There, get it in a nice spot there so you can see it. Okay. It's the thing. It's now like kind of right in the middle. That's not the moon. That's Jupiter. What is that saying? Girls are from Venus, therefore they're genius. Boys are from Jupiter, therefore they're stupider. Something like that. I remember childhood rhymes. Isn't that cool how bright Jupiter is? And it's after sunrise, it's almost 6. Well, I don't know if it's after sunrise, but it's 6 a.m. basically. So it's very close to sunrise if it's not sunrise yet. Let's enjoy some Foggy Mountain Breakdown. There. You can't really see the fog that well, but it's actually quite foggy up on the hill there. Of course, there's this little hill, my little hill here that is between us and the hill across the street. Which makes this not really the greatest place to film the hill across the street from. But we'll walk over there more. Probably get a better view. Yeah, it's really lovely around here right now. Especially in the aftermath of all this rain last night. Funny, I came out this morning or middle of the night to smoke a cigarette like at, I don't know, 1:30 or something in the morning. And, look at the moon. There's the moon for you. That one's a little easier to spot than Jupiter, I guess. I was like, it smells like worms out here. And I realized, I think that must be some weird leftover thing from childhood. It smelled like it rained. It didn't smell like worms. But as a kid, I associated every time it rained, that's when the worms came out from into the gutters. I'd play with the worms. And so I guess I thought when it smelled like wet ground outside, that was the smell of what worms smelled like. I just realized this last night. Wait a second. It smells like worms. Really? Are you sure that's just not the smell of rain on the ground? Why would there? I don't notice that phenomenon up here that I noticed back in Arcadia, where every time it rained, all the worms came out. We don't really have gutters up here per se, you know. Well, we don't have curbs. Put it that way. We don't have any curbs, so we don't have curbed gutters, which is where the worms like to accumulate. Yeah, I don't really see any worms out when it rains here. It must be a city thing. The worms come out of people's front yard, lawn, or something. The lawn gets saturated and the worms come out into the gutters. That's my guess. But since we don't have any lawns up here, nobody has any lawn. Everybody just has the forest around them as much as they can have it. But I'm going to conclude that seeing fewer worms when it rains does not mean that there are fewer worms. Maybe there's more worms, maybe there's fewer worms, or maybe there's the same number of worms. But we can't conclude simply by noting the absence of visible worms up here that up here has fewer total worms. That would be rushing to a very hasty conclusion with very specious reasoning. Hopefully none of you did that. Because that would make me sad. Like a sad clown. All right. Bang on some drums. 6 in the morning, that would be well received, I'm sure. But people tend to not get up in other people's business regardless. Like, people are generally pretty considerate, but the neighbors across the street, when it's time to get those kids up for school, it doesn't matter what time it is. She's yelling at them as always. Oh, yes. This is truly a blessing in kitty form. Oh, yes. You have the nobility of 1,000 lesser kitties. It's true. Yes, it is true. Daddy does love you. Um, I wonder why something is too. I don't know what we're wondering about, but I wonder it as well. Can you wonder about something without knowing what it is you're wondering about? I wonder. One of the lady comics I watched a little bit of last night. This funny joke about people putting dumbass social media posts up like, until there is no more genocide, things are not okay. Right. What a controversial opinion. So you're opposed to genocide, huh? I'm thinking the answer to it, Aries flare, is probably my yard and street combination hypothesis, which is everybody in Arcadia has like St. Augustine grass on their front lawn, or at least they did when I was a kid, for sure. And my guess is when it rained hard, the lawns flooded or got too saturated, and the worms would come out as the only places they could get away from it, which was either the gutters or the driveway, you know. Whereas up here, um, there's not a square of grass with ground underneath it surrounded by various cements that can get easily saturated like that. So that's my best guess. But it's just a speculative notion. Perhaps you might say it's what I intuit to likely be the case. But do I have enough information for my intuition to go on? Probably not. I would guess I have insufficient information. But I have sufficient kitty. So it's like we do have up here behind the retaining wall our like privacy hill that is the circle driveway goes behind this hill with the retaining wall, right? That is sort of an isolated patch of ground, but it's much deeper ground than a lawn. It's not flat at all, it's a hill. And it's got a lot of big trees on it. So, um, and additionally, even if somehow it were to rain so much that it flooded out the worms from the hill, I don't know. I guess they might like congregate behind the retaining wall. I've never seen that happen, but I've not been here for like shit tons and shit tons of, well, maybe I have, of rain. I was thinking, most of we missed last year, right around now, they were having this epic rainstorm of all time up here. In fact, yesterday I looked at the rainfall amounts and it showed the record rainfall amount for that day yesterday was an inch, over an inch, and it was set last year in 2022. So they really had some serious rains here last year before we, probably before we even saw the house. But maybe right around when we first saw the house or something. I mean, saw it in pictures, but not in person. So we haven't been here for the heaviest possible rains. We were here for the heaviest possible snows in the winter, though. But I didn't have any childhood association with snow and worms. I'm assuming that worms don't live in the snow, but they just stay underground where it's warmer than the snow. That's why early birds, when they land on snow, do not enjoy the normal advantage of getting the worm. Because snow is not good for worms. You can't just feed your worms snow all the time. You need to give them a balanced diet. A balanced diet of snow and dirt and rocks, with a couple of leaves and sticks as well. That's what worms eat. Oh, yes. What a specialness, Pam. What a beauty poo. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. More pets. More pets for you. Yes. Because you're so deserving of them. That's why. What's this big, like, bald patch under your neck? Did something like scratch your throat or something? Oh, yes. Daddy knows. Oh, yes. Oh, sweetness and kitty love. Oh, you want me to get you? Okay. All right. I just wanted to make you grab me to tell me it was time for more pets. Yes. Oh, yes. Daddy knows. And he loves. With his emotion heart and all of his tenders. Yes. And Daddy has so many tenders. He's got at least a gross of tenders. Oh, I think it works on any mucus covered thing, probably. It would work on your sinuses, I'm sure, as well. If you were to snort a line of salt, you'd feel exactly what the slugs felt. Namely, I wish I hadn't snorted that salt. So, I think I'm going to wrap this up for now. I'll probably live stream again later. I mean, the alternative would be to start doing some chores. Well, it would assist with some sinus issues, like, for example, if your sinuses not being in screaming agony is a problem for you, it'll solve that. You can either snort salt or meth. It works either way. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. I might watch some more comedy things. I was enjoying watching that last night. And I'll see you later on. I'll see you later on today. Goodbye, everybody.